Hamilton.
Mr. Speaker, as we've already heard, yesterday saw the largest mass execution in Saudi Arabia since January 2016, in which 37 people were killed. According to the official Saudi press agency, the men were executed, and I quote, for adopting terrorist and extremist thinking and for forming terrorist cells to corrupt and destabilise security. They were arrested after 4 Islamic State gunmen attacked a Saudi security compound in Riyadh. But the Saudi authorities have still not made clear whether those arrested were linked to the attacks. Publicly pinning one of the headless bodies to a pole as a warning is not only disturbingly barbaric and medieval in nature, but is also an abhorrent violation of human rights. Now, according to the families of those executed, there was no prior notice that the executions would be carried out. This is a blatant flouting of international standards set out by even the most brutal of regimes that still use the death penalty. Now, we know that some, if not all, of those executed were convicted in Saudi Arabia's specialised criminal court, the SCC, which has been widely condemned by human rights groups as secretive, and that has been used to try human rights activists in the past, whom the state often wrongly regards as terrorists. We also know that at least 3 of those executed were juveniles, a clear violation of international law, which the Saudi regime appears to care very little about. Abdul Karim al-Hawaj was charged with participating in demonstrations, incitement via social media, and preparing banners with anti-state slogans. Reports from human rights watchdogs in the country claim that he was beaten, and the so-called confessions extracted from him through various means of torture. Mujtaba al-Swaykat was a student about to begin his studies at Western Michigan University when he was arrested at King Fahd Airport, beaten, and so-called confessions extracted through torture. Salman Quresh was just 18 when he was executed, but convicted of crimes that allegedly took place while he was still a child. The UN has condemned his sentencing and the use of the death penalty against him after he was denied basic legal rights such as access to a lawyer. Saudi Arabia, as we've heard, has executed more than 100 people already this year. If it continues, the number of executions alone will reach 300 in 1 year. The human rights group Reprieve say that 5 of the prisoners they supported were executed yesterday. Many were forced to stand in stress positions for hours and deprived of sleep until a confession was extracted. These executions, Mr. Speaker, have caused a breakdown in Saudi Arabia's relations with Iran and has the potential to further destabilise the region. So, what discussions has the Minister had with his Saudi counterpart since the executions took place? Will the government condemn the use of the death penalty in Saudi Arabia today? Will the government call for an immediate end to executions in Saudi Arabia? And finally, what plans does the government have to tackle the use of violence against human rights activists in Saudi Arabia?
I yield to none in my affection and admiration for the honourable gentleman. He is, however, fortunate that I'm in a generous mood, as I just note in passing that he was due to speak for 2 minutes, spoke for a little over 3, and his first of, I think, 4 questions was posed after 3 minutes and 1 second. So it was a volley of